participants in our programs. Perhaps they are friend, spouse, school, partner, or mother ordered to take our class. It may be that they are court ordered or otherwise mandated to attend. In any case, your best option probably is to acknowledge that some people are not wanting to be here today. We'll honor that and try not to add to your frustration. As for the rest of us, and then go on with your introduction. Participate.
I want to pause just for a second. So those of you who are working in custody at CJ5, your students are required to come to school. If they don't have a high school diploma or GED, they're required to come. So you are going to get people who don't want to be there. And so just thinking about that is going to be kind of important, and just being prepared for that, because that's a shock too, right? Like to have someone just say to you, I don't want to be here, they're making me come, I don't want to go to school. So just prepare yourself for that and think about what your statement is going to be to the group. You know, she had kind of her umbrella statement of like, I know some of you don't want to be here, I'll try not to call on you, you know, so think about what your script is going to be when you kind of introduce yourself to the group for the first time, or you start getting individuals in and it's very clear that they have an attitude and it's very clear that they don't want to be there. Think about how you want to kind of address that. So that's kind of what the takeaway is for that. And I forgot to, the reason I also wanted to pause is because there are some things on this form that I'd like you to just take note of. Nothing that's happened yet so far, but you know, this is like a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 activity where you can go back to it, but it's like, what are 5 implications for teaching from this handout that you use or are going to think about using this semester? Number 4 is going to be from this video. What are the steps in the 4-step intervention shown in the video? So just prepare yourself for that. Identify 3 strategies for addressing disruptive participants that would work in your teaching environment. What are 2 recommended questions from the video that you should ask yourself in reflecting on your daily teaching practices? And then the last one is more like feedback for me, like what is one major aspect of teaching adult learners that you would like to explore further? Okay, so just heads up, that's what this is for.
I had a quick question.
Yes.
In the script, they said, I'll try not to call on you. Is that something that we should be saying? Or are we trying to like engage everybody, you know, with equity cards and making sure we're hitting everybody? Or is that realistic to say, I won't call on you if you don't want to call on? With adult learners.
Managers? Or Kristen? Anyone who's had the in-custody experience? What would you say?
I would say no. You know, because a lot of people, you will get resistance. They don't want to be there. At some point, most of them do buy in, you know, and it's like you have to kind of give them some time. And, you know, I've seen teachers call on certain people to read. It's like, no, I don't want to. Some of it could be shame, embarrassment. Some of it could be, I just don't want to be here. But, I mean, coming from my experience, I would not say that to them. Yeah.
Say what she said, or say
that I won't call on you.
Okay.
Yeah, you just don't call on them, you know, but I wouldn't put that out. I mean, I wouldn't put that out there.
I think that was an example of what not to do. Like in a class like that where you're going to give everyone the out when they come in.
I think it came from like the CPR, like she liked when the CPR person said that.
Yeah.
And I don't have to take that literally. I was just wondering.
Right,
Is
yeah.
this an instance like would we use things like equity cards to make sure? Because I know with high school students, like when my principal comes in, she wants to make sure I'm hitting every single student.
Yeah.
But if this with adult learners, if it's different.
It sounds like she's talking about the 80% and like choosing your battles, right?
Yeah.
So more about like
Absolutely.
captured 80% somebody.
Yeah.
And then I think the other 20%, if it's engaging, will actually, you might get 10% more just because whatever the activity is becomes engaging.
Yeah.
But like to try and focus on the larger group.
Okay.
It's a good question,
So,
because,
just a thought is maybe I'm just thinking is maybe we use the equity cards but also allow them to pass in their response. And I see even, you know,
Wow.
elementary teachers will do that. Like, we'll still try to engage everyone, but they could have a pass.
Chandler?
Well, I think just like being patient, like maybe not calling on them, but the good and the bad thing of jail is that there's a lot of like groupthink, and so there's a lot of negative to that. But in a classroom, like if you win the 80%, you're gonna win everything.
Everybody.
Because
Yeah.
it's just the way it goes. Like it's not
Good to know.
you. That's kind of how jail works on all these different levels. So it can work favorably
Absolutely.
I find that 80% are so favorable to 5Ps at San Bruno that they bring aboard the other 20%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
And I'll
yeah.
say, you know, somebody doesn't want to be there, well, as long as you have to be here, maybe you can learn, there's some people learn today that you don't know yet. And so the other guy said, yeah, 5Ps is really cool, you know, they go on and on. So
Right.
it's really cool.
Okay, so yeah, so take from it what you will. Yeah, but yeah, that's a good question. Okay, second participant has an opinion on everything and shares it. Here we go.
Type number 2 has an opinion on everything and shares it. Adult learners come with a lot of experience. Some participants seem to want to share all of their experience in the very first hour. If you've ever been in a class or training where the same person comments every time, you know how deeply you'd like to have the person in charge stop that behavior. Yes, adults learn from one another in class, but that is not the same as hearing the same person talk about his or her experiences and burn up all the class time with his or her views. Some suggestions by Dolores Curran in her book Working with Parents includes, don't make eye contact with the talker and ignore his or her raised hand. Refer back to the class rule about taking turns talking. Ask the group, does anyone else want to comment on this? Nearly every group has one such person as this, so planning ahead will reduce the chances that you'll have a problem. Let's review some of the tools we've already talked about in our previous steps. One is to post your group rules and include something about sharing the floor in your rules. Use the 2-cent idea. Everyone gets to share twice before anyone can share a third time.
Don't
Offer
bring pennies
activities that
into jail.
include short writing assignments. The talker gets to put his or her thoughts on paper and share them on the board instead of verbally. The bucket of hand lotion on the slide represents the talking piece in this lesson. Explain and use a talking piece from the very first introduction so the talkers learn to wait their turn. And as a side note, the hand lotion is a great talking piece, especially for our North Dakota winters. Hotel-sized bottles, samples, and those unwanted scents that you
Not bring hand lotion to the
never
jail.
use that.
Don't bring lotion to the jail either. but take away the talking piece part, because if you were running like a RJ circle, which we do in jail, you can create another talking piece that then it's like only the person who has it, like kind of that one mic thing, you know. So that is kind of the takeaway, not necessarily the lotion part, but yeah.
Home are all put to good use on participants' dry hands. Put several small bottles if you're having your participants do small group work, so each table gets one. Another one would be to make a supply of sticky notes available at the start of class. Let the participants know they're welcome to put related topics on the parking lot via sticky notes. If the talker starts to talk about something unrelated to the lesson, ask that person to put it on a sticky note on the parking lot and assure him that you will come back to it if there's time. And finally, utilize walkabouts. These are wonderful ways for people to connect even before class begins. They offer a vehicle to participants to share their views and experiences up front. Put out new questions whenever you are introducing a new segment of the lesson or need to physically move around the room, or when you're serving a food break and wish to have something for people to do when they're finished, but others are still eating. And finally, breaking people into small groups and pairs to discuss a question allows the talker to talk without using class time. Be sure to reassign partners from time to time so you don't wear out the talker's work partner the very first week. A participant who is habitually negative can drain the energy from a group. People also tend to shy away from others who are negative. Again, try to set the stage for success even before your participants come through the door. Ground rules can include something such as, we can disagree with each other and still be cordial to one another, or phrase your comments in a positive fashion. A talking piece should keep the negative comments down to only the negative person's turn. Make paper and pencil available for anyone who would like to write his or her answers first to see if they are positive responses. Start your program with everyone sharing one challenge and one victory from his or her week. Try to tie this to the topic if possible. Do the challenge part first. then the victory. This will put the learners in a positive state of mind going into the topic. If you're working with parents, practice rephrasing negative statements into positive statements as part of your lesson. For example, change "don't be such a slob" to "please hang your coat in the closet." If a negative participant throws out thoughtless answers, turn to the group and say, "There's one answer. Do you all agree?" If a person dismisses every solution with "that won't work" or "I tried that already," he or she really is not looking for solutions. If it goes on week after week, suggest that this may not be the best place for him or her to get help. In private, ask where else he or she might look for solutions, or suggest that he or she may have to live with his or her current situation. Don't dwell on the negative. Like participant 1, who does not wish to be at the session, the person who responds negatively should not be fed attention for it. Participant 4, the class clown, or just a wiggly person. Oftentimes the class clown is not as funny as he or she may think. This person may use humor to hide from expressing emotions. Include group rules around sarcasm and appropriate humor at the first class to minimize the clowning. Answers in writing, partnering, and small group work, as well as using a talking piece, can also help quell the clowning. If the person is just action-oriented, ask him or her to pour the coffee, pass the handouts, and do any other physically active job that gives that person positive, appropriate attention. Bringing table toys such as squeeze balls, Play-Doh, or puzzles that go with the content may also help point the energy in the right direction. You are the group leader, and with that title comes the responsibility of keeping your class on time, engaging, educational, and of course, civil. You will have times when being sure that all learners feel respected is a daunting task. If something starts to go awry, try this 4-step intervention from Facilitation at a Glance, your pocket guide to facilitation. Decide if you really need to intervene. Take a deep breath and consider if this is a reoccurring problem, if anyone needs your help, or if this will go away on its own. Then, describe what you see. For example, "I'm noticing that we seem to be off our planned topic." Another option is to tell people the impact of their action. For example, "We may not have time to finish our planned activities." Don't use this if you think someone will be offended by it. And fourth, ask participants, "What do we need to get back on track?" Asking is preferred when possible because adults like to follow their own ideas, not the ideas of others. If needed, however, tell them, "Please limit yourself to one idea that pertains to our topic, and then pass the talking piece to the next topic so we can hear everyone's opinion on this issue." Your group will be glad you did. Contemplate these 2 questions. What was the one best thing I did today to help my students learn? And what can I do next time to help them learn even better? Then, before you put your notes away, make useful changes in notes to prepare the lesson to be even better next time. Many excellent resources on teaching adults are available. Here are some of my favorites.
Okay, I'll go back.
They are all. What can I do next time to?
Another strategy that could work, especially for those of you who do site-based instruction, like if you have like a video or some small documentary or something that you're going to show towards the end of class, like just reminding them, like, "I'd love to show you this, but I can't if we're off topic." Like whatever that little carrot is, like make that the thing. Like I want to get to this, I want to show you guys this, but I don't know if we're going to get time to do it if we keep going off topic. Like something like that would be a good way of encouraging them to get back on track. Okay.
Mary, that's a really good point, especially in the site-based classes in the gel, because they're really long, 2.5-ish hours, and
Yeah.
so it's really. And then there's, I mean, I don't know exactly how it is here compared to LA, but it's never exactly. It's not like in a regular school where you know the bell's going to ring at this time and then it's going to end at this time, and you can really, get very adept at planning your minutes out. sometimes your class is 2 hours, sometimes it's 2.5 hours, sometimes it's an hour and a half. And so I always encourage teachers in planning to kind of pad the end, not with something just frivolous, something content related, but maybe not that, like, don't plan it so that you need that last 15 minutes to like really tie up your lesson, because you may not get it. And so and then that helps in what you're just saying, like then you like something fun but related to the content, and that way it's a little incentive at the end. That you know, if we get through all this stuff, we get to do this at the end.
Yeah.
Not, you know, not like just watch videos or whatever, but like something, it might be related to a video. Like in an economics class, I've seen a teacher do where she would bring in like it was like the British version of Shark Tank, and then they would get to do that in the last 10-15 minutes if they got through the lesson, and then they would like discuss like, and then she would make them use still the academic language of economics, so it was, you know, still related to the content, but it was fun.
Or like a review game, or
Yeah.
you know, something like that. But like, I can't get to this if we're doing this. So. And I think that's pretty much it. So like, this is the wrap up of the 2 questions, which is on the sheet, and then I think she just gives the list of resources.
Help them learn even better. Then, before you put your notes away, make useful changes in notes to prepare the lesson to be even better next time. Many excellent resources on teaching adults are available. Here are some of my favorites. They are all short reads and very practical. If you don't have access to the books, the Effective Adult Learning and Effective Presentation papers are online, and they are wonderful too. Look them up and use them often. Working with adults has many more components. Look up the references from the previous slide and enjoy all they have to offer. Commit to use one new engaging activity with each of your lessons. Add something for those folks who like to move and work with their hands, and for those who learn best when they see the information in written form. And don't forget those who like to hear the information. Keep in mind that many ways are available to encourage and inspire learners. Have fun finding your favorites and listening to your learners to discover their favorites too.
Okay, that's it.
Hello,
Oh,
my
sorry.
name is Kim Bush.
We're not going to play that again. So yeah, so I hope it was helpful. The series of Teaching Adult Learners, this one that I was wanting to share, is a 4-part series, and it's actually really good. You know, some of the earlier ones are talking about how to like set up your class and activities that will allow students to kind of work with each other. So like there's definitely a lot more to learn from this person, this facilitator. But I just thought like, just anticipating, like I don't want you to be shocked when you come into, because I know working in a jail is a shocking experience for many people. I know working in a community site when maybe you were a traditional teacher is a shock too, because you don't have that captive audience. You have people that choose to come, and if they don't have what they need, they're gonna vote with their feet. You know, they're gonna leave. And so like there's this, like I've got to draw them in, and I've got to find ways to reach them. So that's kind of what this is supposed to do. And then the video was to kind of like, well, what if something goes wrong? Like what if you've got that student that's challenging? What if you have that student that's negative? What if you have that student that? So hopefully the 2 together kind of help prepare you for some of the things that can happen in our environments.
Even for folks like that are in the community side, this is a question, is it important for community side teachers and in-custody teachers to know who like their support team is? Like if they're at the Y, that there's case managers there, or if they're in custody and they're in a program Y, to bring those folks in to intervene and help out with like intervention meetings, or to like encourage the students to, you know, to do good in school.
Right.
So I think, I don't know, is that something that we want to encourage the teachers to utilize their
Absolutely.
outside partners?
Yeah, and I think it actually goes back to, I think, Suzanne's question earlier, yesterday about discipline even, you know, so it's like if something goes bad, we don't have that traditional structure that a school has of suspension and expulsion, you know. A lot of times we do bring in caseworkers, or, you know, someone who is from the program that that the student's also participating in, and they kind of develop whatever the issue is, or conversation, or in some cases consequence that might happen. So yeah, knowing who those folks are, I think, is going to be part of that orientation that the site supervisor will need to have with individuals. individuals. And it could be part of what you guys do with your site supervisor tomorrow, you know, so, I know I'm taking a group. I know Dork, the workforce group, will probably do some work around that, and then, you know, CJ5 folks, Cynthia's gonna orient you with that kind of stuff too, so.
That voting with your feet, and kind of related to what Joanna was saying too, it's like, some students might just be coming to the community side because it's a safe space, and like, yes, they wanna do school in theory, but that's not really why they're coming to school in that moment, and so, but if they know that they have a long on-ramp when they walk through that door, and, then they'll keep coming.
Or
And
it
so,
feels
yeah.
highly encouraging.
Yeah, and then, yeah. And if they experience success, like, so it's really super important for all of our students to, every single time they walk in a classroom, to, experience some success. Not like, I'm gonna finish this packet in 2 weeks, or like, I'm gonna finish this project in a week. They have to experience it kind of like every day, because they never, you know, so many of them haven't before, and so that's what's gonna keep them coming back. So just like, to build the possibility for success, and even multiple successes into every time they walk through your door is huge for our students. And really, that's when you talk about like classroom management, as we call it with youth, or, you know, managing difficult learners or whatever, that's, if you do that, then you won't really have these problems. I mean, very rarely.
Thank you. That's all I have for you. I'd love to collect those forms, but you know, if you need time to like work or think about that question or that thing that you'd like to know more, I'll collect it after the break. So you can hold on to it unless you're ready for me to collect.
Could I say one thing?
Yes.
On that concept? So I wanted to say, because I work at the site, the greatest resource I have is my manager, which is great, but stepping in, like, when you really need to pull her in, it's like that higher authority to talk to students when something's going on.